Welcome back to part 5B of how to install Magnorail. On this video, I get into routering out the actual foam for the Magnorail. These couple of shots here are just showing you how the setup of it on the actual layout is going to be and where the tunnel portals are. I did this just to make sure that the positioning of the Magnorail on the foam was correct before I actually started routering it all out. The next step was to get a permanent marker and actually mark out around the channeling onto the foam so that I knew exactly where I needed to router out the foam. So here's a couple of shots of what that looked like after I'd finished. You'll see I've got the little loop sections on the side as well, which is where the screws actually screw the Magnorail into the foam. Then I took the foam outside and actually screwed it at each end to a separate sawhorse, just so that I knew that it was really stable before I got the router out, which is a 40-plus-year-old Black & Decker router. I made sure it was exactly the right height that I needed, which was about 7.6 mil to be exact. And this router worked an absolute treat. This was literally the second time it had been used in 40-plus years, and it was like a brand new one. It was brilliant. So I finally found a purpose for Dad's router. So here is some shots of me actually routering out the foam. It was actually quite a good little job to do. At first I actually thought, oh, not much of the foam is actually coming out and covering me, but then, of course, when I looked later, yep, it's pretty covered with foam. I just wanted to make sure that I got all the little bits and pieces out of the channel and that I'd actually routed out everything I needed to do, just in case I needed to go back. But as you can see, that's when I found out all the foam was on me. But what can you do, eh? That's all part of the fun. So yeah, it came out very well indeed, and I was very happy with it. So I took the foam then back inside to the work table and went to fit the Magnorail channel, just to make sure that I had routed out enough that it could fit snugly inside the channel. Before it actually fit perfectly, I had to cut off these little side parts here that you can see here. Now these side parts are used for if you're not insetting the channel. So there you go. They're not needed for my particular purpose. So I cut all of those off, and then the channel just fit beautifully inside the routed out section. Then I traced around where the motor was going to go. The motor actually needs to have a 16.2 mil deep routed section, if I remember correctly. And so I took that out and did that separately so that the motor the cog section, the motor component, can actually fit inside snugly. I also routed out a section for an animated tree that I have with a little girl that swings on a swing. So I'm going to hook that up as well and put that in the centre section. So you can see I've got an extra little routed out section there as well. So that should look quite good when that's all wide, and that's where you can see me at the moment. I'm actually putting the tree in. That was only 10 mil deep. So that was another depth altogether. I'm just putting that in, and you can see from this shot here that everything is just so beautifully flush in there. The router did an amazing job, and it's of course all about setting it to the exact depth that you need. So it's the same old saying that you hear all the time, measured twice, cut or routed once. So that's how I did that, and it came out really well. Now you'll see me actually getting the 150,000 tiny screws in place, ready to screw in with my tiny little screwdriver. And although the screws, if the channel is pulled, the screws will come out of the foam, but if you don't tamper with them, they actually hold the track quite nicely into the foam. So once I had screwed all of those down, it was then a matter of actually getting the chain and putting the chain into place. You'll notice down in the bottom left there, I've got a little tool there, which I also got from Magnorail Oz, and that helps me put the right pieces of chain together for the right vehicles. So if I want to do a tandem bike, I need to have certain pieces of chain together if I want to do a standard bike, or if I want to do something like a cargo bike. So the certain pieces of chain have to be together, and then I put the magnets in, and the next video will be all about putting the top on and hopefully seeing some cyclists ride. So thanks for watching, guys, and tune in to the next one.